Welcome again to the Old Principle. Today we have an interesting story from my life. We're going to be talking about raising chickens, 养鸡. Now, for a brief period in my lifetime, we raised chickens. So I'm going to tell you about my personal experiences, and from this we'll learn a little bit about of English too. But before we do that, we need to listen to the story, so let's listen.
Story 194, Raising Chickens. We ate lots of eggs every week, so my father decided to raise chickens. Dad built a chicken house on skids, and over many years it was moved to different locations in our backyard. Around the chicken house, a fence was erected so that the chickens had freedom to roam outdoors. We always had 20 to 30 chickens. My brother and I assumed much of the responsibility of caring for them. We had to feed and water them regularly. Gathering the eggs every day was also one of our tasks. I always forgot to gather the eggs until after the sun went down. Then somebody would remind me, "Have you gathered the eggs yet?" I'd reply, "Oops, I'd better go do it right now." So I'd get the bucket and begin walking out into the dark night. I imagined wild animals were out there hiding in the darkness, ready to swallow me up. I would run and stumble all the way out there. I always sighed with relief when I switched on the chicken house light. The chickens were all over in the corner up on the roost. After gathering the eggs, I reluctantly switched off the light and headed back to the house. Even though it was spooky out there, I could not run recklessly because if I tripped, the eggs in the bucket would be ruined. We also had to clean out the chicken house. The good news was that chicken manure was good fertilizer for the garden. But the bad news was that cleaning out the chicken house was a smelly and distasteful job. I discovered that raising chickens was neither easy nor economical. Large chicken farms with thousands of chickens have the best profit margin. They use scientific methods and mass production to cut their costs. But despite the work and the expense, my parents were satisfied that our chickens were healthier and therefore produced higher quality eggs.
Welcome back. Here we are, and we're beginning lesson number 194, raising chickens. We ate lots of eggs every week, so my father decided to raise chickens. Now, I must say that nowadays the scientific evidence, 科学的研究, says should not eat so many eggs. But in those days we ate lots of eggs, lots and lots of eggs. See, if you eat eggs, 你的how do you say 胆固醇会提高升高. So in those days, we ate lots of eggs every week. So my father decided to 养鸡, to raise chickens. Sounds like a good idea. Going on, Dad built a chicken house on skids. Now, first of all, a chicken house is 鸡舍, 鸡舍. But it says here, he built it on skids. What does that mean? That means, well, do you know what skis are? 雪橇, okay, ski, for skiing on the snow, okay. A skid is almost like a ski. So the house was built on these, you can say skis, actually skids. So that means you could pull the house. They're not wheels, their skids. And over many years, it was moved to different locations in our backyard. Okay, 过了很多年, my father moved the chicken pen, chicken coop, 鸡舍, he moved it to different places. Probably because, well, we will see that the chickens roamed around inside, outside of the 鸡舍, outside the chicken coop. So we had to have fences. We'll go into that in a little bit. And so he had to move it to different places from time to time. Going on. Around the chicken house was a fence, 有篱笆, and it had to be pretty good. You know why? Because there were some wild animals. Wild animals. 这个有一些野兽, not big bad things, but wild animals that ate chickens. So, first of all, you had to keep the chickens inside the fence, okay, 围墙, and you had to keep the bad animals on the outside, okay? So it says here, it was erected so that the chickens had the freedom to roam outdoors. So, to roam means they had the freedom, 有自由, 跑来跑去, to roam. They say that chicken eggs from that type of situation are better. And actually we will mention that a little bit later in the lesson. So I think that's the reason why my father decided to raise chickens. Also, he thought it would be cheap. But you know what? We always had 20 to 30 chickens. So 20 to 30 chickens. My brother and I assumed much of the responsibility of caring for them. Okay, my brother and I assumed means 负责, okay? Much of the responsibility, 这个责任, okay? What? 照顾他们. Okay? You had to buy chicken feed, okay? 鸡的吃的这个食物. And you had to buy this and you had to buy that and so on. We had to feed and water them. So that means that we had to put water out for them. Food and water, and every day we had to do this. You had to make sure. Now, they had a situation where you could put the food in and they had maybe enough food for 3 or 4 days. But then you had to put more in. And water 3 or 4 days. So every day you had to check. Okay? We had to feed. That means 喂他们, 也给他们水喝. Regularly. 定时. 定时. Regularly. Going on. Yeah. Gathering eggs every day was also one of our tasks. So gathering, 就是收集 the eggs, 鸡蛋, every day was one of our tasks. 也是我们的一些任务。孩子们的这个have what actually we have what we call chores. Every child, well, if you live on a farm, 如果你是在一个农场 or you live out in the country, 你在乡下 you have certain chores, certain task, 有些任务 that you have to do every day. Mothers and fathers give that. Now, sometimes mothers and fathers even give money, but yeah, I think my parents also gave us an allowance too. But gathering eggs every day was also one of our tasks. I always forgot to gather the eggs until after the sun went down, unfortunately. Well, you should understand that little boys have many things to think about. The one thing that it's almost always possible to do is to forget about what you are supposed to. 所要做的工作 easy to forget, 很容易忘记 because you're playing and you're doing so things. But I usually forgot until after the sun went down. 太阳下山开始黑夜的时候就说 Oh, I need to go. Oh dear, I need to go get the eggs. Go ahead, next. Then somebody would remind me, John, that's my name, have you gathered the eggs yet? So somebody would remind me, 提醒我, usually my father or my mother, they would remind us, have you gathered the eggs? And my reply was, oops, I better go do it right now. Oops, I better go do it right now. Now, I would stop right here and let me just say that it seemed to me that it was always dark. It was almost time for supper. My father had come home from work. He was at home. He was talking to Mom. And suddenly, oh no, I need to go get the eggs. Going on. So I'd get the bucket. You know what a bucket is? Usually a bucket is 水桶. Okay, 水桶. Okay, and begin walking out into the dark night. So I would begin walking out into the dark night. 非常黑的晚上. Okay. I imagined wild animals. Now, this is what children do. They have active imaginations. 他们的想象力非常强. And so, as I was walking out there, I imagined these wild animals, and I was sure that they would come and swallow me up, 把我吞下去，把我的吃光了. So I was afraid of 这个野兽. They were out there hiding in the darkness, 躲在这个黑暗的中啊, ready to swallow, 把我吞下去. This is little boys. Hey, I think it'd be worse now with television and all of the awful things you see on television. In those days, we didn't have television. And I still imagined 有鬼, 有野兽啊, 等等等等等. I was just very, very afraid. I would run and stumble all the way out there. Okay, I would 跌跌倒倒的, okay, I would run and stumble. I would run 一边跑一边跌倒等等. Because I wanted to hurry and get out there. Because there was an electric light in the chicken coop. 这个鸡舍有电灯. So if I ran real fast, maybe the wild animals wouldn't catch me, 不会抓到我了. So I ran, and of course, it was kind of stumbling in the dark. But eventually I got there, and it was with relief. 松了一口气. When I switched on 就开 OK 开这个 chicken house light. To switch on means switch, S-W-I-T-C-H is 开关. To switch on means 开. So I turned on the chicken house light. Going on, the chickens were all over in the corner on the roost. Okay, the chickens were all over in the corner on the roost. Now, of course, you know what the corner of a building, corner of the room is the 角落, okay? And the chickens were all over there on a roost. Do you know what a roost is? I don't know how to say it in Chinese, but let's see if I can explain. Chickens are basically defenseless animals. 它们没有办法保护自己. They cannot protect themselves. So a bird likes to what? Likes to fly up high so that no bad animals can reach. 它们喜欢到一个比较高的地方. I remember telling a story about unlucky turkeys. Well, these chickens were up high, and a roost was, well, it was just some bars, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and these bars, you know, as you're up there, and the chickens go boom, 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 and they're all together up there, very high up there, protected. And so the chickens are all over there in the corner on the roost. After gathering the eggs, I reluctantly, 不情愿的, okay, I am not happy, I don't want to do it, 不大愿意呢, switch off the light, turn off the light, and headed back to the house. Now I'm heading back to the house. Going on. Even though it was spooky out there, 虽然是 spooky. Now, what is a spook? A spook is 我们说鬼, okay? But if you say spooky and you add a y, the y, spooky, means 很可怕, 很可怕. Even though it was very spooky out there, I could not run recklessly. Remember, when I went out there, I was running and stumbling and you know, it's okay. But on my way back, I had a bucket full of eggs. 我的水桶有鸡蛋. I must walk very, I was going to say gingerly, carefully. Gingerly. Man, this is strange, the English words that we use. Okay? So I walked out there, walking back to the house, very carefully. I could not run recklessly. Notice it says recklessly, 不小心地跑. Recklessly is just 太随便的. because if I tripped, 如果我跌倒了, the eggs in the bucket would be ruined. Okay, 这个水桶里面的 okay would be 破坏了. Now, so that was my daily job. My daily job was to collect and to feed and to water the chickens. Okay, we also had to clean out the chicken house. I forgot, every few months we had to clean out the chicken house. 要清理这个鸡舍. Going on. The good news, okay, was the chicken manure, 鸡的这个粪便, okay, 鸡的粪便 was good fertilizer for the garden. 我们的菜园就变成very good fertilizer, 很好的这个肥料. And we used this. Very powerful, very good. It made the plants to grow and grow and grow. Fertilizer, meaning, of course, the 肥料, and it was natural fertilizer. It was not chemicals. 不是这个化学品 It was real, natural, 是自然的. Going on. But the bad news was that cleaning out the chicken house was smelly and distasteful. Now, probably ought to stop at this point for a second and explain that when it says distasteful, do you know what taste is? Taste is 口味 or 味道, okay? But when we say distasteful, is 不喜欢的. That's all it means. It means it was a job that we did not like to do. It was very distasteful. And it was smelly. 这个臭味很重. Now, I know that I would be more careful. I might put 口罩, put a mask on, and so on. In those days, we didn't do it. It's too bad. Now I'm smarter. But the bad news was that cleaning out the chicken house was smelly. The good news, it was 好肥料. The bad news that cleaning out 清理 the chicken house was smelly and distasteful job. Go ahead. I discovered that raising chickens was neither easy nor economical. Well, my father discovered this. Later, I would understand it better, that raising 养鸡 was not easy, 不是那么简单, okay? Nor economical, 也是不太经济. Now I tell you, why was it not so easy to do? Let's say you wanted to take a vacation. So you wanted to 休假, you wanted to leave. Let's say you wanted to leave for a week. Okay, next question. Who is going to take care of the chickens? You have to have somebody to take care of the chickens while you are not at home. So that's very important. And it was not economical. We had to buy lots of different foods and stuff for the chickens. Now, it says here, large chicken farms with thousands of chickens have the best profit margin. Okay? Large chicken farms. Now, these 农场, okay, have thousands, 几千个鸡, 几千只鸡啊, okay, and they, because there are thousands of them, of course they aren't roaming around like this. They have to be inside a little tiny 他们的笼小小的笼啊, okay. The chickens have the best profit margin, 更高的最好的这个利润. Profit margin is 利润, profit margin. Going on, they use scientific methods and mass production to cut their costs. They use scientific methods, 科学的方法, and they use mass production, 这大规模的方法. See, mass production, 大规模的方法. That means many, 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 many things. So you save money when you have many things. To cut their costs, 减他们要所付的钱. Okay, 他们的成本. Okay, going on next. But despite the work and the expense, 尽管有工作还要付一些钱, my parents were satisfied that our chickens were healthier and therefore produced higher quality eggs. So my parents felt that our chickens were healthier and that the eggs that were produced were healthier eggs. And I think this is true. Anyway, we ate a lot of them. Okay, well, that's about all it is. Another one of the stories, at least this was a story from my life. Our email address, theoldprinciple@gmail.com, and our website, www.theoldprinciple.org. Hey, we've enjoyed having you here for this session of The Old Principle, and hope that you'll join us next time. See you then.